Welcome back everyone to Zoo Sicily, and welcome back with an extra long episode. So if you are the type of person who loves an extra long episode, either as a podcast or whatever for the background, or just for simply watching it, you're good for this today, because it is going to be rather long. Also, this build has taken over 10 hours already in pure building time, plus another 5 hours of kind of concept and stuff like that. I'm gonna talk you through why this is so massively long and why this is still not even fully done. I would count like 70%. You'll see that in a real-time part. And spoiler ahead, the rest of it will be done in a live stream in the coming week. The good thing is I finally have proper internet. It is insane. I can't even imagine how long that took, but it's okay. And also, we are going to have like a very chill stream, really catching up to everything that has gone on, showing you the new office a little bit, so kind of cool things. I'm not entirely sure when exactly that's gonna be, because I still need to bring the cable down in the office room. I used to do all of that with a power line cable connection, but it seems like in this new house it's not really possible, because the basement is in a different kind of power line circle than the other rooms are, and so there is like a conflict in, and the power performance is really not good. Like, it's okay, you know, it's still as good as in the old flat, but it's not like halfway even good as it could be. So I'm gonna put a proper LAN cable in here. Anyhow, let's talk about today's build. As you have seen from the screenshot or the thumbnail, it is the Tropi-Casa, as I've called it. This is the name for our tropical house, at least a smaller one, in Zoo Sicily. Now this one is a mixture of the Lar Gibbon and the wonderful sloth. Now it's funny though, because the sloth is not a habitat animal, but I just had a little experiment and I figured the exhibit does not count as traversable area for, or it basically doesn't exist. If you put a habitat around that, it doesn't really see that there is an exhibit, so it doesn't block anything. So that made me think, hey, you can do something with that, because obviously the other animals can now just roam through it in a free manner. And not only that, they can also just interact with the sloth if you put it in the right way. So I was searching for the right types of, as you can see right in the screen right now, I was searching for the right types of logs that can actually fit in there. Still, I talked about that earlier on in one of the first sloth videos. The problem was that none of these pieces were exactly the same size until I figured the actual climbing frames from the you know, the enrichment, they do fit mostly. It's not like, still not perfectly fine and accurate enough, but it does work. So I was like, okay, you know what, you can do something with that. You can do a wonderful habitat out of that. And so I began building in here. But let me tell you, that was a freaking huge struggle, simply because I wanted to do a tropical house in a Mediterranean style rather than in a tropical style, and that is a challenge, because the house, it still looks a little bit cluttered. I hope it's gonna look a little bit better once we are completely done. There has to be a lot more work going on with decals and stuff, and a bit more foliage, and a bit more, you know, cleaning up. And I still wanted to give the Lar Gibbons also like an outside area, which I'm not doing now. I will do the outside area as soon as we have the pathway going around this building too. But this building should also be like a proper closure for this area in general, because after this there should also like only be like a restaurant area, and that's about that. I still wanted to make sure that people just have to walk through the entire house as like a little walkthrough. I didn't want to make this a in and out thing, you know, that they go in on the one side and out on the other side. Also, that would be a little bit too much of you know, maintenance work for the zoo in terms of keeping the Lar Gibbons in, because they are quite quick and so on. So yeah, as you can see, there are still some smaller exhibits in here as well. I will get rid of them later, simply out of space reasons and height reasons. As you know, these things are massive, and sometimes it's just like freaking annoying because they are so massive. And yeah, I just generally don't like these things at all. Like, I can't really find any positive about these small exhibits. They are 4 meters tall, which is ridiculous. They are, I don't know, 4 by 4 by 4, and in any way, they are just like a weird block of any or like a black block. I don't know, it's just not cool. I can't really work with them. Wanted to get a little bit of a water feature in, and just smaller details everywhere. And also, I wanted to ensure that this whole build looks like a cohesive climbing frame for the sloth as well. So connecting a couple of things, so as if they could theoretically move from one to the other, even though they just don't move at all, so much so. I mean, in real life they wouldn't anyway, so yeah. But it's been a rather hard challenge to really get this all together. I must say that the new pieces from the Tropical DLC are super versatile, so I'm really sure that you guys are gonna love these pieces as well. But I also wanted to ensure that it just kind of fits into the park's vibe. And yeah, as I said, it's been rather hard this time, and I've done a lot of research on Pinterest and searching for a lot of different inspirational images from foliage and forests from Sicily, making sure that everything also ties in nicely to the park's overall style. I tried to do different things with like wall designs. I figured that there's like one particular piece missing from stones I wish to have. Like, we have a lot of cool stones, we have a lot of nice looking stones, we have a lot of full rocks and stuff, but what we're not having is a very edgy, smaller plate kind of stone. You know, these typical kind of broken stone plates that you see very often in zoos, where they just kind of staple them, on top of each other, and then you got these kind of very cool retaining walls out of these things. It's been something I'm missing for quite a long time, and I tried to do that with these tropical fence pieces. It just kind of worked. I gotta say it's good, but I really wish that in the future we have something that is hopefully looking a lot better than that. I'm not sure. It's something like this is really weird though, but one pack I could really imagine is like the zoo maintenance pack, like something that helps us do the maintenance stuff in this thing. You know, the conservational DLC was a really good one in terms of backstage stuff and so on. We got a couple of things like hoses and rakes and shovels and, kind of carts and little stuff like that, cables and whatnot. That was really good one, but I really wish to have like something that goes really into the just zoo maintenance, like kind of different types of roads, definitely new stuff, road kind of stuff, that would be amazing. Maybe a whole range of new feeders, a couple of things like waste. Like, we don't have waste management, but some trash bins and stuff like that. By the way, waste management would be really cool as well. Like, not having the keepers only to poof, but also with every poofing, there is like an amount of litter added to your litter account, so to say, and you have to get rid of it. And then you have to build like a just kind of a waste side on which this is growing all the time. Once it's filled in, you're gonna have to either build a new one or get rid of it, and it always costs money and so on and so forth. I think that would be really cool to have something like this. But yeah, that's just like a random thought. I was trying to fill in already some enrichment items here and there so that I'm not missing out on these things later on as well. I gotta show you something about this in the real-time part. It's really hard to show in this rather quick speed build today, simply because there's so much going on. It also wasn't really a straight line work. I honestly I tried to do a couple of different things at the same time, and so I moved forward and backward, and I just kind of changed my mind along the way, because I thought some things need to be addressed, and I wanted to have some style from the Colosseum build as well. Wanted to ensure that it all kind of ties into like a little storyline here. Tried to make some custom hanging things. I like really trying to make this all work together in a nice and beautiful way, and then at the same time making sure that the whole build works. Especially also with the roof design, it just kind of got hard, because the roofs, as you know, for these type of builds, they look fantastic as long as the sunlight comes in, but as soon as you put a roof on top, the whole thing looks very flat and very weird, and that I wanted to make sure that this doesn't happen. So we have like a freaking huge glass panel on top of the roof. Gosh, today my talking is broken. But yeah, it was like a huge struggle, as you can tell also from the voiceover. And the good thing was, though, I was able to listen to a podcast through the entire building, and I just finished that yesterday when I finished the build for today. days. So I was listening to the original Jurassic Park novel from Michael Crichton. I did this for a particular, well, gosh, it's like a million years ago I read this. It's really been nearly 15 years or something, or even longer, that I read this book, and I almost forget everything. And still, I forgot how much the movie did change up in terms of what happened and what didn't happen and so on and so forth. But I did this for a particular reason, and I think there's no reason to spoil it for you guys who are listening up until this point in time. You deserve a little treat, a little special. I am working on... For those of you who are members, you may know this already from Discord, but I'm working on a Jurassic Park 30 special. So what I'm doing is, I took Prehistoric Kingdom and I started building Jurassic Park, the original park, as if they have decided to restore it, but not as Jurassic World, but a lot earlier, like, let's say 2 years after the events on Isla Nublar, the first ones. They decided to give it another go with a lot of learnings they took from the first disaster. And there's so much in the books that you can take and make a story out of for the park that hasn't been in the movies, neither in Jurassic World, even though Jurassic World took a couple of things that were in the original book, so that it made a lot of sense. I generally wanted to do something there. Of course, I have to do a lot of trade-offs simply because... yeah, we don't have flying reptiles, we don't have swimming reptiles, or swimming animals, I should say, not reptiles, but we do have other cool stuff, so we can totally build a different story upon what we want to. And at the moment, I'm still exploring the main building in a way, because I wanted to have a certain architectural style that really makes a cool story. But more about that once we start this. Just as a little teaser, it will take a little time until I release the first episode. I want to ensure that it works, okay? So that about that. But let's keep talking about this build in particular. You're here for Planet Zoo, so I will fulfill your needs, but don't worry, this episode is so long. Hopefully I can fulfill all of your Planet Zoo needs for today. So yeah, building a wonderful little fence type, and I made... I kind of worked on this thing with these new wooden pieces from the Tropical DLC, which are non-climbable pieces, and I'm a bit confused to why that is. Lady already talked about that as well. It is a bit confusing that these pieces are non-climbable, even though they're like the perfect climbable pieces. They're a little bit thinner. They're almost as thin as the not thinnest climbing piece from the enrichment items, and they have a wonderful form factor. They have the right length. I'm not sure why they are not climbable. Maybe it's a mistake, maybe they will patch that later, but since we have the climbable toggle anyways, it doesn't really matter if they fix it or not. So yeah, for the other side, I wanted to do something completely different, as you can tell over here. I wanted to mimic the Sicilian shoreline rock faces, like really emphasizing the look of Sicily and just making sure that everything is kind of working together. I think I really just succeeded in what I wanted to do, even though it looks really cluttered now. This is part of what it should be. I'm not saying that Sicily is cluttered, but it's like the foliage and stuff, there's very rich fauna in there and very rich amount of different types of foliage, but it's still different from sometimes denser areas and then more loose areas, so it's a bit harder to achieve something good looking, because especially with like really tropical areas, as I've talked about in the tropical Palm Zoo, is really simple to achieve in a way. I don't want to oversimplify it, but if you do something very rich and green with a lot of ground-dwelling greenery that gives the whole thing a certain depth and a certain volume in leaves and stuff, it already starts to look more interesting and rich. That is something you can do pretty damn easily with these tropical areas, because you can just clutter the whole ground and then just make very, very seamless transitions. That is something almost impossible with the Sicilian style, because you often go into a very dry area with a lot of sand, with a lot of little rocks in here. Unfortunately, we still don't have cobbled, and I don't want to use the axe again to destroy my frame rate and just fry my computer computer again, so I'm not using the axe. And if I use the other kind of rock pieces, it always looks too big, so not realistic. And so I have to play a little bit around with different types of decals and stuff to make it all look realistic. And as I said, it's not 100% finished at this point. It's gonna take some time until I have the right balance between these things. And I want to say, as I said at the beginning, maybe this is the first building that really wasn't easy. Or like, not saying that the rest was easy, it was all still work, but this one in particular is kind of a hard one to solve, simply because it's already looking pretty good, but I still have the feeling that there is something missing to make it really come together in the way I wanted it to. As you can see, I wanted to also kind of bring in like a little bit of a signage here, try to use different pieces, make sure that this also looks kind of nice. It does at the end make kind of a double gate, forgot how it worked, airlock, that's the name I want to use over here. Even though mostly in this region the temperature difference shouldn't be too big, so it's also fine. Nothing in particular that we need to worry about in this specific case. Yeah, also about the colors, I ensured this time, finally I thought about that, the roof and all the stones are one separate building, so you can change the color on the fly. Something I really do recommend you doing as well, if you need oh my god, inspiration for how to build more modular and efficient. This is one of the biggest improvements you can make. Make sure that your buildings is not one building out of the roof and walls and blah blah blah, so you can't recolor them in one go. But if you separate the roof, the walls and stuff like that, you can always keep only one type of piece within one group, so walls and plaster pieces in ones, this type of clay roof in one, and then I've got the cobblestone in another, so I've got 3 different groups, and I can change the color very easily if I want to, just to make sure that the transition is a lot more nice. This only works if you think of it at the beginning, and you can always still align them perfectly, because what you need to do is just once build a building, put 2 pieces of the ground in, put 2 pieces of the wall in, put 2 pieces of the roof in, and then select each 2 and split them from the group, so you have got a new group. I'm saying 2 because 1 piece doesn't make a group, obviously 2 make a group. That's quite something you should know. And yeah, at the end of the day, this is how it all turns out. I'm very happy with how this worked out. Also, I found a new way of making kind of this cool little fence type over here. Still making sure air goes in, but at the same time making it look good. The ceiling is still not finally sealed. Yeah, I mean, it's not made nice and so on. I may have done something in between, I don't know, before I record the real-time part. Not sure if I get the time, because it's very late right now, so yeah, maybe I'm gonna do this tomorrow before uploading, I don't know, but you'll see if we are in a couple of seconds in the real-time part. As you can see, this is me doing just a kind of a little bit of the roofing, putting some decals in for the looks of it. This is just me putting a last couple of bits in here to ensure that the building looks somewhat finished for the moment, but there is a lot more to do before it actually is finished. Making sure that everything just comes together, making sure the light goes in fine, and trying to do different things here with the entrance. Oh, that was also some weird struggle here to get the door in. Not sure what that exactly was. Anyways, it's almost done, so let's finally jump over into the real-time part. In the real-time part, oh boy, am I excited to show this to you. So this is the Tropi-Casa. You can see we've got a sign up here. I'm not sure if I'm gonna leave it like that, but with the overall style, I'm quite happy. As I said, there is a lot little things to do, or quite a lot of things to do, but we are going to talk through these once we are in. You can see this is right behind the panda area. The transition has to be still done, but yeah, you get over here. A couple of things have to be like supports and stuff, support beams. Not everything is in. We will have like an education sign in here once it's done, and then you can go either to the right or to the left. We're gonna go to the left first of all, and we're just going to quickly bump through, and here we are in, and I think it's looking fantastic. I think it's looking really, really, really good. I have to admit that a couple of changes I did really were exactly what I want. Look at that, this is so cool. Like the gibbon is just like, look, it's just using the climbing frame of the sloth, and it's so cool that they do, because it just adds so much to the vibe. There's another one coming over here. Maybe this one, I haven't seen them doing the variation too often. But yeah, you can really tell this is kind of cool. Look at that one. Yes, this is what I was talking about. Now, we've got this one hanging up here with the sloth basically in the same area. And this is exactly what I wanted to achieve. Like, look, you've got the sloth up there and you've got the gibbon up here. This is so cool. This is so cool that it works. I mean, just look at that. Look at this in the back. You can really tell how they're like hanging here together. Oh, I love that. It's so cool. Like, they can do everything together now. They're basically on the same area, and yeah, just in general, it works very well together. Look at this one chilling in here right in front of this Sicilian rock. Yeah, if you look at the ground, I did a couple of testings over here. This is really where we are getting. I will have to do a lot more in the background. The frames have to be adjusted. Like, as I said, little cleanups have to be done. But overall, I think it's really good as it is now. You are going to do some magic. Where's your hat, by the way? Oh yeah, well, it's rather crowded in here simply because these are the new animals of the show. So yeah, you can really tell also how cool that looks with this one just drinking from here. I did this corner. You haven't seen that in the speed build, but this corner is rather new and it works quite fine. Yeah, I'm wishing to see, maybe like this is one of the coolest shots over here. This is one of the coolest frames. You can see, I really want the gibbons to do some brachiation on this one over here at some point. This would be the perfect screenshot. But yeah, I don't, oh god, it's so crowded. Go away, people. Gotta have to get rid of it. Yeah, so there's the other one. Look at that. It's so cool. I've done quite a lot here to make sure everything works. Oh look, it's, oh my god, the climbing up here is rather nice. I haven't seen that one, that they use the tree trunk in that kind of sense, that they keep to the outside. Let's see how that works. Oh, they just jump over. That's nice. But you can also do some brachiation at some point, please. I haven't seen them doing this too often in here. It's kind of cool that they can't escape, though. This is really neat. But yeah, so this is that side. There's like a little seating area over here, as you can see. I think it's very cool with this one. This is a little bit sad. Look, this region over here is a bit sad. I'm going to do some netting above and put some plants in or so, just to make that look a bit more nice. But as I said, also this is kind of cool, like this little water. I love how they're just like just chilling with the people and just like go through. Big fan of that. I would be totally in for these houses. There's one hanging just like, I mean, just look how cool that is. You're just standing over here and this one is just hanging across your side and just having a good time. It almost looks like as if this is in the, yeah, I love it. I just love it. It's swinging itself now up. Oh gosh, the animation is really good of that. It's really good. Yeah, you've got another one over here. This, as I said, is a bit of a change. This one looks totally different. This is more like the Sicilian rock style, and you still have the sloth over here. They do chill, as I said, in this region. We've got a couple of climbing frames merged into it so that they can actually use them, and it still looks good, kind of good with the sloth. So it's not really unnatural. You can see this one up here making its way through. It's also not unnatural. Still using the same frame. Really doing a good job in maintaining the looks of it. And this one is, for example, it's not connected. There's no other thing in here. I might do a bit of a different like rope climbing in here, so just to connect that in a different way for the gibbons, to make them even more like moving in between. I think this would be really cool. But yeah, as I said, this all comes very well together right now. I think it's really good looking. And once we're making our way to this side, you can see this is where the entrance is, and then you make yourself your way out of here. This is like a little corner where you can chill down. It's not too much going on over here. I tried to block the view as good as possible so that this is also in terms of noise and stuff less than in the center, because once you're getting in super noisy and then you get out and have a, you know, like a slow transition from super loud to outside again. So yeah, this is the Tropi-Casa, my friends, and I am mega happy with how it looks right now. I'm mega happy with how the overall feel of it is. I'm mega happy how the building turned out. Just in general, I'm super happy. Let me just go in for the final words of today's episode. I'm just gonna go into that corner here. And let's just have a little look into the Tropi-Casa from the interior. There you go. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. It was a hell of a lot of work. Honestly, I've done so much work in this build to make it work, and I really hope you guys can appreciate that. Now, as this took me quite some hours. Obviously, I don't have too much other stuff prepared, but apparently this is one of the coolest builds in the past couple weeks for Sicily, simply because it was such a challenge, and I wish that you guys give me some feedback on it in the comments down below. Other than that, if you haven't subscribed yet and you want to do me a favor, please do so, because that helps me growing the channel, and we are just short to 80k. I wanted to achieve 80k by the end of the DLC hype, which unfortunately is gone already, but maybe you can help me reach the 80k anyway. So thank you so much for your ongoing support. I hope to catch you in a live stream this week, so make sure to peel your eyes on the Twitch channel as well. I'll be there in a couple of days hopefully, and yeah, until then, have a good time, stay safe everyone, and goodbye.